Something in her voice changed. Hey, night listener. Tonight, we enter the shadows. The rain taps like slow, deliberate fingers against the cracked window pane. Streetlights hum above slick pavement, each glow haloed by fog that refuses to lift. Somewhere down the alley, footsteps echo, but they never arrive. Somewhere behind you, a door shuts, and no one claims it. If the story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Drop a comment. Where are you listening from? Are you drawn to the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now, lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. You notice it on a Tuesday? Ordinary, unmarked, no sharp corners, just a Tuesday. She's sitting across from you, elbows resting on the table, telling a story about the barista who gave her the wrong drink. Except halfway through, her voice glitches just for a second, like static on a tape. She says latte, but it comes out as liar. She keeps talking, doesn't notice, but you do, because that one word doesn't belong, because she never stumbles. You sip your coffee slower now. Watch the way her fingers curl around the ceramic like she's measuring pressure, not comfort. You okay, you ask? She smiles. Too smooth. Why wouldn't I be? You knew, but pretended you didn't. That night, you find her phone on the counter, face down, screen warm. You shouldn't look, but you do. Not texts, voice memos. You tap one, play. It's her voice, whispering. He thinks I haven't noticed. He's wrong. They always think we're slow to see the cracks. You press pause. You don't remember what you did to cause suspicion. Unless it's not about you. Unless it never was. You rewind the audio. This time, she says something different. He thinks I don't know what I've become. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The next morning, she makes you breakfast. Same routine, same coffee, same kiss on the cheek. Except when she walks away, you notice something's missing. The silver ring she never takes off, gone. And suddenly, the air feels heavier, like the room is trying to warn you. You glance at your phone. The voice memo, deleted. The folder empty. You look up. She's already watching you. Not smiling, just waiting. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. And in a silence, something dark has started whispering back. The locked drawer was already open. You don't remember unlocking it. That drawer in the hallway cabinet, the one she told you was stuck shut the day you moved in. The one neither of you ever managed to pry open. It's just open now. No tools, no scratches, no sound. Just ajar, like it had never resisted you at all. You stare at it too long. Then you kneel. Inside, there's only one thing, a velvet pouch, deep blue, tied with a string you know wasn't there yesterday. You hesitate, fingers hovering over it, like it might hiss if touched. You reach in. It's heavier than you expect. Inside a necklace, silver chain, small pendant, a locket. You haven't seen it before, but you recognize it instantly from a photograph. Not one you own, not one she's ever shown you, but you remember it because that locket belonged to someone else. Her sister, the one she never talks about, the one who died. You open the locket. Inside, not a photo, a scrap of paper, a single line, printed in perfect serif font. You weren't supposed to look here yet. Your hand jerks back. The locket clatters to the floor, and the drawer is closed again. You didn't move it. You're certain of that. You knew but pretended you didn't. You call her name softly at first. No answer. Again. Still no answer. You walk through the apartment, each room in place, nothing out of the ordinary, until her office. Door cracked open, and inside, light on. But she's not there. Just her laptop. Open. Unlocked. That's when you realize it. She wanted you to find this. You sit. The document on screen is a transcript. Your name at the top. It reads like a police interview. You read the first question. Where were you the night she went missing? You scroll. Her answers are blank, but each question is time-stamped with tomorrow's date. You scroll again. The final line reads, "He'll find this after the drawer opens." That's how I'll know he's ready. You step back from the desk. The window beside you shifts. Not the curtain, the glass itself, like it breathed in and held it. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, and somewhere in the silence, the house has started watching. The clock started ticking backward. At first, you think the ticking is just in your head. Maybe your pulse, maybe stress, maybe the house shifting its old bones. But then you follow it, not with your ears, with your body. Every hair on your arms leads you down the hallway like antennae tuned to dread. You stop at the end of the hall. It's the old brass wall clock, the one you always assumed was decorative, the one she said never worked. It works now, but not like it should, because the hands are moving in reverse, second by second, time bleeding backward. Sub 3602601, tick, tick, tick. Your breath slows. Something behind you creaks. You don't turn around because you don't want to know what might be watching this moment with you. You touch the clock. It's warm. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You return to the kitchen. She's standing by the stove, stirring something. The smell is familiar, but wrong, like someone copying a recipe without understanding why the ingredients go together. She doesn't look at you, just says, "What time is it?" You freeze, because she never asks that. She always wears a watch. Always. You glance back down the hall. It's almost 6. You lie. She nods. "I hate when time slows down." "Don't you?" she says. But it isn't slowing. It's reversing. And something tells you she knows. On the kitchen counter, next to her elbow, is a piece of paper, folded neatly in thirds. You unfold it while her back is turned. It's a receipt. Timestamp, 6:27 p.m. Tomorrow. Item, 1 brass clock. Purchased from the estate of Evelyn Marsh. Your stomach turns. Evelyn Marsh is her sister, the dead one. The receipt is dated exactly 1 year from the day Evelyn died. You fold it back up, slide it into your pocket. Look at her again. She's still stirring. The spoon scrapes in slow circles like it's keeping time. You take a step closer, she says, without looking. "Careful, it's hot." You weren't close enough for her to hear you. Well, everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. And the truth, it's ticking backward, just like the clock. The photograph had a new shadow. You pass it every day, framed in walnut. Dust along the edges like it's earned its place on the wall. A picture of her at 17, laughing, shoulders back, wind in her hair, that old locket glinting at her throat. She's alone in the shot, or she used to be. Tonight, someone else is in the background, a shadow figure faint, but real, not digital noise, not your eyes playing tricks. This figure was never there before. You step closer, squint. It's a man, back turned, trench coat blurred at the edges like he moved mid-click. He's looking at her, but her eyes in the photo, now they're looking at him. You blink, they're looking at you. You step back, you swear the frame just breathed. You knew, but pretended you didn't. She walks in, towel over her shoulder. damp hair dripping a trail across the floor. Looking at old ghosts, she asks, "You stammer something about never noticing the background." She shrugs. "You never do." The air thickens between you. She turns toward the bathroom. Before she disappears, she says it like a warning. That photo's always been like that. Maybe you're just seeing it right. You sit on the couch, breathing shallow, staring across at the photo again. The shadow in the background is now facing forward. No features, just silhouette. But he's definitely closer. The lights flicker. You open your phone, scroll through pictures you've taken of the living room over the months. Find one from 3 weeks ago. The same wall, same frame. Zoom in. He's not there. Just her. Just wind. Just light. Not whatever this is now. You turn the phone screen off. The room suddenly feels colder. The kind of cold that seeps through the floorboards. The kind of cold that doesn't come from weather, but from remembering something too early. You look at the photo one last time. Now the frame is cracked. Hairline. Upper corner. Like someone pressed on the glass from inside. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And something someone is rewriting the past. One frame at a time. Her alibi came from nowhere. You didn't ask where she was last night, because you didn't know there was a reason to. But this morning, she tells you anyway. Before you speak, before you sip coffee, before you wonder. "I was at the bookstore until 8:40. You can call them if you want." You freeze, because you never asked. Because the clock still ticked backward when she came home. And because the bookstore closed 3 weeks ago. You set your mug down, carefully. She doesn't look up from her newspaper, not even as you reply. Okay, you knew, but pretended you didn't. Later, when she showers, you dial the number on the receipt she left out, same one from the so-called bookstore. It rings. A voice answers, static-laced, too low to be human, too calm to be digital. "We don't sell books here anymore." You hang up before your voice can betray you. In her closet, you find the coat she wore yesterday. Inside the pocket, a slip of paper folded in half. No ink, just indented impressions. You shade it with pencil like they do in detective movies. The words rise like ghosts from below the surface. Tell him the bookstore. He forgets things in reverse. You drop the note, because those aren't her words. They're yours, in your handwriting. You race to your desk, open your old journal, the one you haven't written in for months. The newest entry is dated last week. You don't remember writing it. If she starts giving you details without questions, she's already rewritten the memory. You flip the page. Don't trust the first alibi, or the second. Trust the one you never hear. That night, you hear her talking in her sleep. You lean close. She whispers a name. Evelyn. But it's not a memory. It's a warning, and her lips curve into a smile. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, especially the ones who dream out loud. The gloves didn't fit, but were hers. You find them folded neatly inside her top drawer. Not stuffed, not forgotten, arranged. Leather, soft, black, fitted for small hands, but too large for hers. You lift one. It smells faintly of perfume hers, but underneath it lingers something metallic. Not blood, not exactly. Something colder. You slip it on your hand. The lining is smooth, broken in, too broken in. You hold your hand out, gloved, and realize you've worn this before. But that's impossible. She's never let you near this drawer. She's always claimed it never opened. You pull the second glove out. Tucked inside the palm is a receipt, dated last year, signed with your name, for 2 pairs of gloves, size small, but you don't remember buying them, and she's never worn gloves. ever. You stare at your name. It's written in your handwriting. Except there's one thing off. Your signature tilts left, this one tilts right. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You returned the gloves exactly as they were. But that night, while she sleeps, you check again. They're gone. The drawer is empty, as if they were never there at all. You don't sleep. Instead, you sit on the couch in the dark, watching the clock on the wall tick forward now at 3:12 a.m. The doorknob to the hallway bathroom turns just a twitch. No one's in there. You wait. At 3:13 a.m., it happens again. You get up, slow, quiet. The hallway light flickers once as you pass beneath it. You open the bathroom door, empty, but on the counter is one glove, just one, and it's wet. You touch it, still warm. You bring it close to your face, hesitate and smell. It's not water, it's rain, but it hasn't rained in 3 days. You blink, and suddenly, the mirror behind the glove has a message on it, scrawled in condensation that shouldn't be there. Check the left hand. You don't remember writing it, but your reflection is already turning to look. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And one of you is already wearing both gloves. She smiled when the news broke. It comes on during breakfast. You're half listening, stirring sugar into coffee like it's a ritual that wards off whatever the house won't name. The reporter's voice is sharp, sterile, until one sentence cuts through. A body was discovered early this morning in the marsh behind Hollow Creek. You look up. She doesn't flinch, keeps slicing an apple with casual rhythm, each slice falling into the bowl like it rehearsed the fall. Then, barely, just for a breath, she smiles, not at the news, at you, like she was waiting to see how you'd react. You don't ask if she knows the place, because you do. It's less than 5 miles from here. And 2 months ago, she asked you randomly. You thought, if someone drowned in a marsh, would it take long to float? You laughed then. Now you're choking on your coffee. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Later, when she steps into the shower, you check her phone again. New voicemail. The transcription is garbled, but you catch enough, just like you said. Marsh, left hand. You pause it, rewind, press play again. Now the voice isn't garbled, it's yours, but you never made this call. Leave the glove where the cameras don't see. Make sure it's the left. You drop the phone, it hits the tile louder than you expect. She calls from the shower. Everything okay? You lie, instinctively. You always do. In the afternoon, she puts the apple bowl in the fridge and says, "Strange how people turn up exactly where they swore they'd never go." She isn't talking about the body. You're sure of that. You nod. Say nothing, because your name isn't in the news. But somehow, the guilt is already looking for a face to wear, and you're the right fit. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, especially the ones who smile just before the headline. The window was locked from the outside. You checked the lock 3 times. Click, click, click. Still sealed. Still stiff. Still impossible. Because last night you left it cracked open, just a sliver to air out the room. You remember. You always remember small things now. The temperature, the sound of the latch, the way the curtain fluttered like a warning. Now the window is shut, and not just shut, locked from the outside. You step closer, heart heavy in your chest like it knows something your mind won't say out loud. Outside the window, bare lawn, no ladder, no prints in the dew, but on the inside sill, pressed perfectly into the dust, is the curve of a fingerprint, too small to be yours, too deliberate to be an accident. You take a photo with your phone, look at the image, no print. You glance back at the sill. It's gone. You knew, but pretended you didn't. She comes in behind you, towel in her hair, unbothered. You keep staring at things that don't look back, she says. You nod slowly. I thought I left the window open. She shrugs. Maybe the house is tired of your drafts. You want to ask her who locked it, but you're afraid of the answer. Instead, you say, "Do you remember the wind last night?" She tilts her head, towel shifting. There wasn't any. She's right. That's what makes it worse. Because you heard it. Heard the rustle. Heard the whisper. Heard the shape move through air that should have been still. And the curtain. The curtain moved. You go to your office. The old notebook yours is open again. New page, new ink. You didn't leave it that way. The first line reads, "You missed the moment she decided." The second, "She's already dangerous. You just haven't caught up." The third, "Tonight, she'll ask you something simple. Whatever you do, don't answer yes." You flip the page in a panic. There's a drawing, a key. Not yours, not hers, but you've seen it before. At the bottom of the marsh road, nailed to a post, hanging like bait. You thought it was just local art. Now it looks like a warning. And tonight hasn't happened yet. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And the locks in this house, they were never for keeping her safe. They were for keeping you in. The voice in the recording was yours. She leaves the house at exactly 7:03 p.m. Mimikation. You watch from the window, barely breathing, as her figure fades into the dusk. Not a glance back. Not this time. She's always been good at exits. It's arrivals you've learned to fear. The moment the door shuts, you move straight to her desk. Password already bypassed. You found it written beneath a drawer last week, tucked behind a photo of her and someone you thought was just a cousin. He's not. His name is scratched out. You open the folder marked March 2nd, today. Inside is a single audio file, labeled Confession, Final. You hesitate. Every part of you tightens as your finger hovers over the space bar. And then you press play. She was already gone by the time I got there. I panicked. I didn't mean to lie. But the truth is messy. And I couldn't fix what had already drowned. You freeze, because that's your voice. Every syllable, every pause, the same cadence you use when you're afraid. But you've never said these words. I thought maybe no one would dig, but they always do, don't they? Even when you bury it deep enough for the marsh to swallow. The room seems to lean in toward the sound. You hit pause, rewind, listen again. It is you, a perfect match. Except you never recorded this, and there's a soft breath in the background. Someone else listening, breathing with you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You scanned the metadata. File created 2 days ago, modified 1 hour ago, by her. You check your own phone. No copies, no backups, but under your voice memos folder, there's a file you didn't name, pending upload. Confession final. Your phone's microphone was never off. That night, she returns with groceries. She places a single red apple on the table in front of you. You ask her, "Did you hear the news?" She smiles. Not yet. And you understand she's not talking about the news on TV. She means your news, the kind no one else knows until it's released. Until the voice on the recording becomes your last memory of innocence. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, especially the ones who already have your confession before you even speak. The missing photo was never taken. You flip through the album again. Page after page of glossy smiles, staged laughter, birthdays that feel like someone else's. You're looking for one image, the one she told you about during your first winter together. You'll know it when you see it, she said. It's the one where the background mattered more than the people. Back then, you thought she was being poetic. Now you think she was warning you. The photo isn't here. It never was. But there's a blank space on the page, plastic lifted. Just enough to say something used to live there. A faint square of dustless paper, like a ghost of memory left behind. You check the back of the album. Inside the flap is a note, scrawled in blue ink. If you're reading this, it means you looked. That's good. That's bad. Below it, a sketch of you, profile view, eyes closed, and in the background, the silhouette of her. But she's not smiling. She's watching you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You close the album. Head spins. This isn't nostalgia. This is construction memory, curated like evidence. You walk to the hallway mirror. It's fogged again, but the room isn't humid. You write a word into the haze. Why nothing responds, but your reflection is already a second behind. It watches you a beat too late. Then it smirks. You blink. So does it. But the smirk stays. You hear her voice from the kitchen. You ever think about how many photos get deleted before the good one is saved? You say nothing. She hums a tune, one you don't recognize, but your spine does. You walk back to the office, the receipt from the clock, the glove, the locket. You lay them out like clues on a detective board. Everything pointing to a moment that hasn't happened yet. Everything pointing to you. That night, she leaves the door unlocked. You find another photograph slipped under your pillow. This time, it's you holding a shovel. The date in the corner tomorrow, and in the far corner of the photo, barely visible, is her hand holding the camera. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And the photo that was never taken, it's already in someone's file. She asked if you'd bury something. It comes over breakfast. No lead in, no explanation. Just 7 words sliding across the table like poison in a teacup. Would you help me bury something today? Your spoon freezes, midair. She doesn't look up, doesn't smile, just takes a bite of her toast like it's any other Tuesday. You ask, slow, what kind of something? She shrugs, nothing big. The silence between nothing and big is wide enough to hide a crime. You nod, but you don't agree. Not out loud, not yet. You knew, but pretended you didn't. After she leaves the room, you check the garage. Shovel moved, work gloves missing, and in the corner, by the water heater, a fresh bag of lime sits open. You kneel beside it. The air around it is damp, recent. You trace your finger along the floor and feel the faintest groove, a drag mark, something heavy, something no longer moving on its own. You swallow hard. You don't ask questions you're not ready to answer. Instead, you check the car. Passenger seat, pristine. Driver's seat crumbs, a smudge of dirt. Trunk empty except for a tarp and a half-used roll of duct tape. You close it slowly. A faint beep on your phone. One new voicemail. Unknown number. You press play. She doesn't need your help burying it. She needs you to carry it. Click. You stand frozen in the garage, heart pounding against ribs that suddenly feel too brittle for this truth. A second message arrives. Same number. Say no, and she'll know you remember. You return inside. She's cleaning the sink, humming that same tuneless song. Still up for that favor, she asks, like she's testing the edges of a trap. You smile, because you're a coward, or worse, a co-conspirator. Sure, You say, "Let me grab my shoes." And as you pass the hallway mirror, your reflection lingers a moment longer than you do, smiling just slightly. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, especially when they hand you the shovel first. The shovel was already dirty. You meet her by the trunk of the car. She doesn't speak, just hands you the shovel like it's a gift wrapped in dirt, rust, and implication. You take it, not because you trust her, but because it's too late not to. Your hands tighten around the wooden handle. It's damp. Earth clings to the grooves. This shovel has already been used. She pops the trunk. Inside a black plastic bag, tightly wrapped. No odor yet, but the shape tells you everything the silence doesn't. You glance at her. She says, "Don't ask." And because you've read enough crime novels to know that sometimes the answer is worse than the question, you nod. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You drive to the edge of the woods. She tells you where to stop, where to turn, like she's done it before. At a clearing, she gets out, points to a patch of land under an old elm tree. "Here," she says. It's soft. She's right. You start to dig. Each scoop cuts into the earth like it owes you something. 10 inches in, the air shifts. You smell something sweet, metallic, and wrong. She doesn't flinch, just watches. You ask, "What's in the bag?" She smiles, faint. You, if you keep asking, you pause, and she laughs, kidding. But it's not a joke. Not really. You dig deeper. The elm tree creaks above you like it's remembering something. A wind rolls through the clearing, but only the branches above you move. She takes a photo. You don't ask why. You know, it's for later. Proof, evidence, or insurance. You don't finish the hole. She does. With bare hands, she smooths the dirt over the bag like a blanket. Then she carves something into the bark with her fingernail. Your initials, and hers, and a third set you don't recognize. Yet, that night, you dream of a field full of shovels, each one pointing at your chest, and in the distance, a tree crackles with your name. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And the moment you touch the handle, you stop being a bystander. The note wasn't in your handwriting. You find it tucked inside your coat pocket the next morning, folded once, thin, crisp, like it was meant to be noticed. You unfold it slowly. 3 lines. You're digging in the wrong direction. She's already buried what matters. But she hasn't buried you yet. You check the handwriting. It looks familiar, like your own from a distance. The same upward slant, the same short loops, but the Y curves left instead of right. The spacing is wrong. It's a mimic, close enough to pass in court, but not close enough for you. You know your own lies, and this one isn't yours. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You trace the edges of the paper. No watermark, no scent, just pressured deep indents where someone wrote too hard. Someone who wanted you to feel the words, not just read them. You flip it over, blank, but faintly. When you hold it to the window light, you see something else. The outline of a key, not a real one. A drawing, like a child's version. Rounded head, jagged teeth, and on the side, scrawled in tiny print, "You've already used this." A rush of memory floods back. The glove, the photo, the note in the closet. They all echo one phrase. Left hand. You open your drawer, dig through the clutter, find the old storage unit, key she gave you a year ago. "You'll never need it," she had said, "but just in case." Now you look at the label. The tag says left, but the key is shaped to turn right. That night, you confront her. Ask, "Do you still have the storage unit?" She stares too long before answering. Why you smile? Just wondering if I'm buried in there too. She doesn't blink. Then, not yet. And that's when you know the key was never for the door. It was for you. To unlock the truth you're too afraid to face. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Especially the ones who hand you the truth, dressed like a joke. The clock skipped the wrong hour. You stare at the living room clock. It ticks, but not in time. The minute hand jumps ahead 2 ticks, then stalls, then creeps back 1. You watch it, hypnotized. The time is wrong. You check your phone 2:14 a.m. The clock 3:27. You reset it. 2 minutes later, it reads 4:09. You unplug it. It keeps ticking. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The next morning, she's already awake. She's never awake before you. She pours coffee, calm as silence. You're early, you say. She smiles. No, you're late. You glance at the kitchen clock matching the living room now. You check your phone again. They disagree. You whisper, "What time is it?" "Really?" she says. "That depends. When do you think it should have happened?" Your stomach drops. "What?" She leans against the counter, sips slowly. "You said you'd be gone by midnight, but you stayed. That means something changed." You stare at her, pulse rising. "What changed?" She doesn't answer, just says, "Time's tricky when you're the one being watched." Later, alone, you open your journal, the one you kept last fall. Entries are dated in your handwriting. October 4, October 6th, October 9. But where's October 5, October 7th? The gaps bother you. You didn't skip days. You never skip days. You flip through. On a torn page near the back, something is written in faded pencil. You weren't asleep that night. You just weren't you. Your hands shake. You close the journal. Check your phone again. It's powered off. You didn't touch it. That night, the clocks in the house all chime at once. 2:30 a.m., 3:30 a.m., 4:30 a.m. Then silence. You run to the hallway. The bathroom mirror reads, "You're chasing the wrong hour." And behind your reflection, she stands, smiling, silent, holding a clock with no hands. It was never about the truth. It was about control and time. Time belongs to whoever's brave enough to lie about it first. The stranger at the door knew your name. It's just after dusk when the doorbell rings. You weren't expecting anyone. No deliveries, no neighbors. You glance at her. She doesn't move, doesn't even look up from the book she's not reading. The second ring comes faster, sharper, like it knows you heard it. You answer. The man standing there wears beige. Not quite a uniform, not quite civilian. His smile is tight, measured. "Wrong, Mr. Holt," he says. You don't respond. He continues. "You're hard to reach." He pulls something from his pocket, a photograph. Blurry, nighttime, grainy, like security footage. You're in it, holding the shovel, and behind you, barely visible her. You step outside, close the door behind you. "Who are you?" He shrugs. "That's less important than what you're becoming." You flinch. "What is this?" He offers the photo again. "A test. You knew, but pretended you didn't." "Is she in danger?" you ask. He tilts his head. "Maybe. Or maybe you're the danger." You open your mouth, but he holds up a finger. "People don't become monsters all at once," he says. "They become them by agreeing, one favor at a time." You feel cold. He tucks the photo back into his pocket. "I'm not here to stop anything, just to witness." He starts to turn. "Wait," you say. "Who sent you?" He pauses. "She did." You stare. "She said if you made it to tonight without breaking." He adds, I should deliver the message. What message? He smiles wider now. Tell him the key was for the box behind the furnace. He has until midnight to decide. You take a step forward. He's already gone. Just gone. No footsteps, no car, no trace. You open the door. She's standing there. You always forget to ask the right questions, she says. That's why they sent him. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, especially when they're the only one who knows what's inside the box. The box wasn't empty. It was listening. The furnace is old, loud, groaning like something alive. You kneel beside it, flashlight flickering. The crawl space behind it is barely wide enough for your shoulders. You reach in. The box is metal, cold. A padlock hangs from the latch, but you know the key. The one from her desk drawer. The one she swore was just for emergencies. You insert it. It clicks open like it was waiting. Inside, not what you expected. No photos, no bones, no weapons, just a small black device, square, smooth, blinking red light, and a folded note. You open it slowly. This box doesn't hold secrets. It collects them. You've been talking to it for months. Your stomach flips. You remember the arguments, the mutterings, the things you said in the dark when you thought no one could hear. It heard. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You lift the device. Underneath it, a stack of labeled tapes. Tuesday night, basement April 9th, after the lie. Your voice. When you thought she was gone, you sift through them, hand trembling. At the bottom of the pile, a tape with no label, just a red slash. You slide it into the player beside the box. Press play. It's you, arguing with her, denying something. Then, a whisper cuts in. Not yours, not hers. He won't remember, but he will confess. The whisper is followed by silence, and then the sound of digging. Not outside, inside. You stop the tape. The crawl space suddenly feels smaller, colder. You pull back. She's behind you. You weren't supposed to find that yet, she says softly. You hold up the device. You've been recording me. She shakes her head. Not just you. She reaches into her pocket, pulls out a second device. Some confessions. She says, need witnesses. You want to scream, want to ask what you've confessed to, but you already know. It was never about the truth. It was about control, and the box never needed to be opened. It just needed to be believed. The confession didn't match the crime. You sit at the kitchen table, hands flat, heart racing. She plays the tape again. Your voice fills the room. I did it. You say on the recording. I didn't mean to, but I did. But there's something wrong. You listen again, closely. It's almost you. Same tone, same rhythm, but the phrasing it's off. The cadence stutters in the wrong places. The words too carefully chosen. Like a script rehearsed, one beat too many. You pause the tape. That's not what I said. You whisper. She sips her coffee. Unbothered. It's what you meant. You slam your hand down. You edited this. She raises an eyebrow. Did I? You want to deny it. But the worst part is, you're not sure. Because there was a night. One you've buried. The night you woke up with dirt under your nails and the shower still running. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You rewind again. This time, you hear it. Background noise, barely audible. A second voice, muffled. Yours? No. Hers. Whispering over you. Repeating lines. Sinking breath for breath. A mimicry inside a mimicry. You eject the tape. She says, you don't remember what really happened. But I do. You ask her what that means. She stands, walks to the window, looks out. at nothing. It means I protected you. And this, she gestures at the device, was the cost. You stare at her. You protected me from what? She turns, slow, from the hallway. Something clatters. You both freeze. You move first. Step into the dark corridor. The locket is on the floor. The one from months ago. Open. Inside a photo you've never seen before. You, her, and someone else. Someone with eyes blacked out. And on the back, he confessed, but not to this. You hear her voice behind you. Soft. Some crimes are easier to confess than to live with. You turn. She's already walking away. And you realize you've been apologizing for the wrong thing. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Especially when the lie sounds just like your voice. The mirror showed what the camera couldn't. You wake to find every mirror in the house turned around. Bathroom, hallway, bedroom, all reversed. Even the compact in the drawer. Every reflective surface now staring into dry wall. You ask her why. She shrugs. Mirrors lie. You said that once. You didn't. But you believe it. You turn one over. Yours is the only reflection that doesn't blink. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Later, you check the footage from the hallway camera. You are pacing at 2:13 a.m., muttering to yourself. Then, suddenly still, you look up, directly into the lens, except your lips are moving, and your reflection in the hallway mirror isn't. It's smiling. On the tape, your mirrored self lifts a hand and taps the glass, but in real time you never moved. You rewind, pause. The reflection is mouthing something. You lean in, slow it down, frame by frame. You're not the one watching anymore. You slam the laptop shut. Your skin crawls. You walk to the mirror again, turn it upright. You look tired, older, like you've been somewhere you shouldn't have returned from. Behind you, a flicker. You spin. Nothing. The mirror shows you alone, but your shoulder feels warm, touched. You lift your phone, switch it to selfie mode, angle it just right, and see her, standing behind you, not moving, not blinking, not there in real space, but there in reflection. She tilts her head, just a little. You whirl around, empty. You call her name. No answer. You're shaking. You check the recording. Nothing there. The camera sees what's safe. The mirror sees what's real. That night, you sleep with the mirror turned toward the wall, but you still hear it breathe. It exhales guilt, inhales memory, and whispers things you forgot you said out loud. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And sometimes, the only place to see yourself clearly is inside the lie. She was already inside before you let her. In you wake to the sound of footsteps on hardwood, not above you. Inside the walls, you rise, call her name. Silence. You walk through the house, nothing moved, nothing taken, but everything feels used. The fridge hums too loudly. The windows fog from the inside. You flip the hallway light. It flickers. Once, twice, then dies. You knew, but pretended you didn't. There's a note on the kitchen counter. You don't remember writing it, but it's in your handwriting. Same slant, same loops, same half-cross T. You brought her in. You begged her to stay. And now she's making room. You spin around. She's at the table, calm, stirring tea she never made. You ask, "How long have you been here?" She smiles. "I never left." Your voice cracks. "You weren't in the bed." She tilts her head. "Does that mean I wasn't here?" You reach for your phone. She says, "It won't work." You don't believe her. You check it anyway. The home screen isn't your face anymore. It's hers, smiling, mouth closed, eyes wide. You drop it. She rises, walks to the front door, opens it. Rain pours down. Funny thing about invitations, she says, you only need to offer them once. She steps outside, but her voice echoes behind you. You spin. She's still in the room. Two of her. Three. They flicker, like poor signal on a dying TV. Only one speaks. You didn't just invite me into your house. You invited me into you. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones, especially when silence is their way in. You close every door that night, every window, barricade the vents. Still, you feel her behind your eyes, watching what you watch, thinking what you think, and humming that same melody you never remember learning. You forgot what you promised her. It starts raining inside the house, not from the roof, from the walls. Drips seep from the corners of the ceiling. Dark, slow, rhythmic, like the house is sweating something it can't hold anymore. You stand in the hallway, listening. It's not water, it's words, tiny syllables, spoken backwards. You tilt your head, trying to catch one. Remember, you said you would. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You race to the attic. The smell hits first. Not rot, not mold. Memory, old perfume, dust, and a promise broken. You pry open the crawl space. Inside the shoebox. You haven't touched it in years. You lift the lid. Inside, everything you forgot. A pressed flower from the day she said yes. The note she left when she said goodbye. The ribbon from the night you said nothing. The matchbook from a bar that no longer exists. And beneath it all, a card. Your name on the front. In her handwriting. Inside you promised you wouldn't become like him. But promises don't bury guilt. Only time. And even time forgets to forget. You drop the box. Something moves in the corner. You turn. She's there. Or the shape of her. Eyes where eyes shouldn't be. Mouth like a question that never got answered. She speaks without sound. But you feel it behind your ribs. I gave you chances. You fall to your knees. You ask, what do you want? She kneels beside you, brushes your hair. Just one thing. You whisper what her smile returns. Gentle, final, to be remembered the way you forgot. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, you're no longer holding the pen. She is. And she's still writing your ending. End of script. Sleep well. And watch your back.